Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Uniben Alumni Series. This is a show where we celebrate alumni of the great University of Benin, men and women that have gone through the institution. And on today's episode, we have a retired deputy registrar from the institution and former BOT chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. He's Chief Macaulay Azugbene. Thank you, Chief, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you are part of the early graduates of our institution, the University of Benin. What made the University of Benin catch you? What made it attractive to you then to attend the institution? Because I heard that as at then, despite it was a young institution, but a lot of tertiary education seekers put in for Uniben, they wanted to attend there. So what specifically made it attractive to you?
Well, we're not that too early among those who went to Uniben. I went into Uniben in 1975, while the university started 70, but we were the pioneer in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. The attraction then was that a lot of my schoolmates from Edo College were in Uniben. I had admission to UI, Unilab, Nsukka. I opted to go to Uniben because it had become a federal university, and it was the in thing then. Apart from wanting to join my old schoolmates from Edo College, the University of Benin was reigning. Ogbemudia'S had set it up, the federal government had taken it over. And so, they just introduced the Faculty of Arts and Social Science because I was not a science student, I was an art student. So that was the attraction.
Sir, after graduating from the institution, I think that was late 70s or
78.
78. Okay. You went ahead to work with the university. What made you choose to work in the university? Because obviously there would have been other options for you, but you choose to work in the institution. What was that motivating factor?
Well, when I graduated, I did my youth service, 78, I finished my youth service, and I came down to Benin, 78, 79, finished my youth service, came down to Benin from Ogbemudia'S across River State. I picked up a job with the civil service, those Bender's civil service. And while there, I heard on the radio, that was September, the radio announcement that the University of Benin Alumni Association, they were going to have a meeting at the Assembly Hall, the Kema campus. So I took up the interest to go to the Kema campus and got there for that meeting. I found I was about the only graduate from arts and social sciences among those who were there. The rest were science, engineering, doctors, and rest. And I got elected as a secretary general. So every time I started issuing statements on behalf of the association as secretary general, the radio, the television, they would carry it. Then the university got interested. Damu Beke was the registrar then. And the alumni association were working with the university management. Particularly, the VCU was quite interested, the registrar, Okuma, and the late Mr. Roy Williams. So over dinner at the Motor Hotel, they asked me, why can't you join the administration of the university? And that was how I got there. They invited me for interview. I was interviewed and I was given an appointment. So that's how I just started with Uniben.
Oh, that's great. Please, what year was this? What year?
That was 1980.
1980. Oh, okay. So you were the first secretary general of the association, or the association was already existing before then, before that meeting?
The meeting that I attended was to formally elect officers of the association. There was an organizing committee that was set up to midwife the birth of the association. So that was that meeting was actually the first General Assembly. They had an organizing committee, caretaker committee, to get this association into being. I think they started that from 77, 78, but it finally materialized in 1979 with the late Dr. Oyedemoya as the first president.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you have been part of the institution since 1975 as a student, later as a staff. In your own assessment, do you think our institution has met the vision of the founders, especially late General Sam Ogbemudia?
Well, I pride myself that as an indigene of the University of Benin, because I schooled there and I started working there. And I worked there till I retired. So the vision Ogbemudia had to build out Midwest students who were being denied admission in other universities, the other universities in Nigeria, and then to really set it up as a base setter in science, medicine, and engineering. I think that vision has been largely achieved even before the man died. The man was very proud and happy with himself that vision he had was actualized. Knowledge for service. And I think the graduates of the University of Benin all over the world are proving more than anybody can really want to know that we have fulfilled that vision, and we are still fulfilling it.
I agree with you, sir. So let's go back to your time as a student of the institution. Obviously, there must have been some moments that you still remember till today that that's actually unforgettable for you. Can you share in some of those moments? You're talking about the 70s, which like activities, events, or occasion that happened in the institution that still very fresh in your memory today?
Well, as a student, I was very active because Uniben gave me the platform, the opportunity to actualize myself. So I was very active and participated in a lot of activities. So there are many events in the university that will actually make me feel very happy and proud. First, I joined a lot of clubs. I also founded one. I was a member of the Skomis Club, and the Skomis Club used to organize Mellow Nights. One of the happiest moments there was bringing Fela Nicola Poputi, Sonny Okosun, One Word, and the Fege group to Uniben for Mellow Nights. It was blast.
Oh, so Fela came to Uniben?
Yes, so to perform. Then at another time, I joined up with Professor Enrique Omarike to establish Man of God Club in the University of Benin. And that club has turned out a lot of spacemen who are doing very well in all areas of life and still active in the university, helping to maintain orderliness, security among their student group and the university in general. We also participated in a lot of aluta, as they call it now. It was not aluta in our time, demonstrating against the obnoxious policies of government. I remember that we were quite vehement, but the federal government getting Mandela released from prison and all that, we marched through the streets. But there was one particular incident that I will not forget. That's the Ali Must Go. Ali Must Go. That one was something else. Although it was a national action. The thing was actually midwife from Uniben, because NOS, that's National Union of Nigerian Students, that's what it was called then, not NAS. They had that meeting in Benin. The meeting that where they took the decision to go on that Ali Must Go was held in Benin. And we had one of my officers who was my parade commander, Papa Payne, who was the chairman of the caretaker committee of the Citizen Union. He hosted that meeting. And it was from there, Segun Okawu was the NOS president, led the demonstration on the They Must Go. So that was one of that big one that went in the country. But then let me tell you one particular one that is a bit funny, but was serious for us.
Okay.
We normally have our meals 20 kobo, 25 kobo. But there was this day that we felt that the welfare officer was not doing enough to get the university to give us a variety. We have rice, jollof rice. We have ice cream. We had just named the chicken and all that. But we said there was no moi. Why did they not add moi? And because of that, we almost went on riot and said we're going to remove the welfare officer. Just for that reason. And all these things we were eating just for 25 kobo. And of course, we import our friends from all over the city to come and eat on Sundays. Breakfast was quite free, nearly free, except you want to eat eggs and all those kind of stuff. Otherwise, you can have your breakfast of bread, tea, and omelette and all those things. So, but for that matter of not adding moi to our Sunday lunch, we almost went ahead. That one. Then we had a problem with Professor Yusuf. The Olori Magege incident. The Olori Magege incident was actually the one that brought Uniben to the limelight in National Front. I think it was also that Olori Magege matter, Olori Magege versus Uniben, that brought out Ganifa Wayini as a lawyer, an activist lawyer. We were social science students, but I think the Marco Polo that the science students used in going to ERO for their lectures, I think something happened. We didn't know. We were in our classroom, and the next thing we heard was that they said the students we should also leave the campus, the classes, that the students were demonstrating. What happened? They said the VC said we were irresponsible. That was all. I later understood that the VC came in, as he came in and met the students, the science students protesting over the delay in the transport to Yaro. They say from official side, he said the VC said the students should behave more responsibly. But from the student side, they said the VC said we were irresponsible. It was that was the only thing that led to the campus going on rampage, and the gates were blocked. Professor Yusufu, all the people who had entered the campus at Ekenwa, the gate was blocked, sealed up, no going out, no coming in. And they were there from morning till afternoon, all their peace. We fell on deaf ears. How somehow the mobile police will come, parade and the rest, but we didn't budge until around 4, because even the workers are closed. They couldn't go. We couldn't go home. The VC was held up in his office. Then the mobile police came. Before we knew it, they had jumped the fence, shooting tear gas all over the place. And of course, all our bravado melted into thin air as we all took to our ears in various directions. And that's how they cleared the gate. And the VC left. The university was closed for 3 months.
Oh, for that incident.
3 months because of that incident. And eventually led to the expulsion of Olori Magege and some others. And then we went to court. We collected money to fight to say it was unfair for Olori Magege to be expelled and with the other students. So Ganifa came in as a lawyer and fought the case and won. So Olori Magege versus University of Benin is classical case in this country. So I think those were a few of the incidents that one would say were quite outstanding.
Definitely. So I would like you to talk about the academic side. This was just a young faculty when you came in. It was just yourself was the pioneer set,
Yeah.
the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. So how was the academic like for you? Because now I'm not sure. I don't know if there was a building house at that point. If there was a building, how was classes like? And the lecturers, I heard that we had lecturers from almost all parts of the world coming in to lecture at the institution. So how was it like?
Yes, the academic activities were quite profound because we were made to understand that we must measure up with international standards. And of course, we had a lot of lecturers from outside Nigeria, foreigners. Professor Greenfield was the first dean of the Arts and Social Sciences. And a lot of people came in from UK, lecturers and all. And the Commonwealth was helping to recruit staff for the university. And we, as students, were happy, but were equally determined to meet up with whatever standard that was there. In any case, we were not very many. For instance, in political science, where I graduated from, we were 12 in the class. Only 12 of us in the 300 and 400 level because we came in through direct entry. So we had that close rapport with our lecturers. I tell you one incident. One scenario. There was one dandy lecturer in the class, Professor Wambuso. He was a fashionista. So myself, Mohammed Yusuf, retired DIG, retired as a Deputy Inspector General of Police now. If the man brings up a trouser pattern today, we will look at it, go to town, bring our tailor to spy on it. The next week we are wearing it. So the man noticed it and he kept changing. So one day he said, look, let me tell you, you don't have money to compete with me. You are competing with me. I'm your teacher. So we said, no, we are just imitating what you are doing. We want to that's to tell you how closely the students interacted with the lecturers. We talked to lecturer one-on-one. I think there was one silly thing that I also did as a student. I'm very bad in mathematics. They now said it was compulsory for us to do mathematics. We had I said I had P7 in mathematics in school side. How would I come to university and start doing mathematics? They brought a mathematics lecturer from engineering, Dr. GMMOB. And the man just came one day. The first time he said, I assume that all of you have A level in additional mathematics. I raised up my hand and told him I didn't even pass O level maths. And the man said, well, you better go and see how you can do it. Of course, there was nothing. I will copy all the examples he will give, but I will not be able to answer any question. So, of course, I failed the first semester exam. And we had a receipt, but I struggled for that receipt because it now became a matter of pride. I was quite popular in the school with my schoolmate and man-of-war activities. How would I now not move to the next class? So studied and tried. There was one evening where a day to the mathematics receipt. I was going through the past questions and I called somebody, Yoko. I said, come and teach me this mathematics. I must pass this thing. And the guy will say, which one do I teach you? Bring the questions we wrote before. And I said, okay, teach me this one, the compulsory question that we had. He taught me, as he was teaching me, one naughty boy was passing by, junior student. I was saying, this is your last card. If you don't pass, you go back.
So the pressure, pressure on you.
If I could remove his head from his neck, I would have done it. But that really pressured me to say, you could teach me this. So, and I crammed that answer to the compulsory question. He said, this may not be the question. I say, if he doesn't put this question, I will reset it and answer it like that. You know, God has a way of solving problem for his people. We got to the examination hall. The first question, 40 marks was that compulsory question.
Oh, so you just
in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, I had coded it down. And then look for other things. 15 minutes, I got up, I said I was going. Everybody started laughing. Say, you don't know what to write. I told them I left you people behind. I have passed. They didn't know what I meant. Because I knew that compulsory question with 40%, at least I know I've already scaled through. So that's how I managed to scale that mathematics order.
That's exciting to hear, sir. Sir, what can you say Uniben gave to you outside your certification? What can you say you got from Uniben? This achievement, this is what you learned from Uniben. What are those things, sir?
Well, Uniben taught me to have the courage to conquer my environment. And like I told you, as a student, I was quite active. So I conquered the Uniben by establishing a club, belonging to a club, and being active and all that. But with that kind of orientation, I also went out of the Uniben to know that there's nothing impossible if you are determined and focused. So once you are focused on the target, with determination, you achieve it. So Uniben taught me that, and I've applied it. And that's why most organizations that I belong to, I did well, at least to my own understanding and assessment, personal assessment. Whether it is in the youth council, I rose to become the president of the youth council. I rose to become the chairman, West African Youth Union. I became a member of the African executive of the African. I even lost presidential election for the World Assembly of Youth. The Alumni Association, I became president, the past president of the Alumni Association, Secretary General, like you know, BOT member. I went into the Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered, from being chapter chairman to member of council. I also rose to become the national treasurer, a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management Chartered. So in every area that I found myself in extracurricular activities, I excelled. In the university, I did my best, rose to become deputy registrar. There can only be one registrar at a time. So by age and other factors, I couldn't become one, but I had fulfillment of contributing my best to my alma mater. I retired as deputy registrar.
You were one director of alumni
relations. I was the first director of alumni relations and development. And with that alumni, you know, talking about alumni, I was the first alumni relations officer of the university. The late Mr. R.O. Williams was quite interested in getting the University of Benin have its alumni functional. And so, as a pioneer staff, administrative staff in the university, he gave me a lot of encouragement and supported me to establish branches of the alumni in various parts of the country. So I planted the alumni chapters, branches in the north, Maiduguri, Kano, Kaduna, to the east, to the west. It was only the west we were not quite successful, except Lagos that was already active with Enebele and co championing that of Lagos, and so on in many places. I recall the night Abacha took over from NS Soneko. I was in Bagana, in Anambra State, with the late Dr. Bigo, trying to get a foothold in that area. Because there was one guy who runs, who had a, what they call this, lab technology center in Bagana. And what I normally would do, look through the graduates of the university, I found out where they come from. If I get to town, start asking, or to the ministry, who is there any graduate or Uniben in this place? So once I identified that anyone, I use it as a link to try to establish a chapter or a branch. So on this day, particular day, I was there with Abigo, and we went to this man's house. He received us quite well, and we were to have a meeting with others that he could identify the next day. He even gave us a room in his house to sleep. That night, he just called us from out of our room that there was trouble in Nigeria. I said, "What's the trouble?" He said, "There's a coup. Sonekon has been overthrown. Military has taken over Abacha." We listened to the repeated broadcast and said, "Well, it's a military coup, not." Say no. He was going to his village. He was living in Bagana with his family, with his wife, to the village, that there's going to be war. I said, "There's no war now. This is just a military." He said, "No, they have experienced war before. He doesn't want to have that experience again." The long and short of it all is that we were forced out of the house. We didn't know where to go. So we drove down to the Polytechnic Oko. They didn't allow us to enter. So we slept in the Volkswagen Beetle we took there the next day and returned to Benin. It was as tough as that.
All for the growth and progress of
the administration, yes. The university was quite supportive.
So I would like you to talk a bit about the formation of Man of War in the Uniben.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to know, how was it for you to create such an organization, found it in our institution?
Well, while in Edo College, I was the secretary of the Edo College Man of War Club. The late Sarade was the president, and he was the head of school. I was the refectorian in Edo College.
The pastor.
Huh?
The pastor Sagede.
Yeah, not the doctor, not Godwin. This from Edo College. We call him Osadi Papa. Osaretin Osagade, not Osagede, Osagade.
Okay, sir.
So we established, to cut the long story short, we established, we reach out with other people like Eriki from City Grammar School, now Asoro, some from Western Boys High School, and the rest. We went around Midwest and established Man of War clubs. And then we now formed Association of Man of War clubs in Midwest, then Bender State. He was the first chairman, I was secretary. Then he went abroad, I became chairman. Then from there, I gained admission to Uniben. It was while at Uniben that I met again with Eriki, who had just also gained admission to the university. And we said, can't we just discussed and say, let us start this Man of War in university. Because at that time, there was no Man of War in any university. In most universities, I think Uniben pioneered it, but I think so we were having this, we wear military uniform, and it was the brigade in Benin, Army Brigade in Benin, that were equipping us, gave us all the military accoutrements that we used, uniform, all, and they brought soldiers to do our training. So we just published one day that we will be recruitment into the Man of War in Uniben. Do you know what happened? A lot of the Civil War veterans from Biafra were in the University of Benin as students. Those who moved down from Musuka and the rest, they were in Uniben. And some who came from the Cadet Club at Government College, we found that more than 100 and something people came out for the recruitment exercise. And that's how we did our first recruitment, and we took about, I think, 45 or 50. That's how we started the Man of War. And then it started growing. And with the glory of God, it has surpassed my widest dream, and the guys are pushing it up. I think this session also, one of the young officers is the first graduate with first class from theater arts, an officer of the club. Since theater arts started in Uniben, I think it's the first time we're having a first class graduate from theater arts, and it's a girl and an officer of the man of war. I'm very happy about that. A lot of them are in different places in the diaspora. Next year now they will have the reunion. They have every reunion every 2 years. And people will come from all over the country, US, Japan, Canada, UK, big events. So that's, I think the last time they invested me as the Alpha One. That's as number one officer of the man of war. So I'm Alpha One. When you hear Alpha One, only man of war knows what that one means. That's the number one man of war in Uniben.
Yeah, it's well designed, sir. Well designed. Sir, let's talk about NYC, National Youth Council of Nigeria.
Yeah.
You're a one-time beauty chairman. This is an organization that was established in 1964, if I'm correct. Yeah, 1964, with a mandate for policy formulation, implementation on issues concerning youth development in Nigeria.
Yes.
Yes. Sir, in your own assessment, I know you have been president, you have been BOT chairman. Do you think that the organization has achieved this mandate and is still achieving the mandate still today?
Well, to a very large extent, being a non-governmental organization, it has achieved a lot in terms of youth orientation, youth development. It has provided avenues for young people to be trained as responsible citizens. Because most of them will go through this citizenship and leadership training. And you find that the spirit of volunteerism is actually very much pronounced among the young population. We talk of Boy Scout, Man of War, Red Cross, the youth wings of the various churches and religious bodies. They are all in this fold. But for the National Youth Council of Nigeria that has provided this platform to these people to grow, you can imagine what would have happened if there was no such background compared to what we have today. Because what we are seeing today now is youth wings of political parties that are only just interested in power for the politicians, not for themselves. You will find a lot of them engaged in thuggery, ballot snatching, and the rest of them, sacrificing their lives for other people to become somebody. But for this National Youth Council, the policy is just that the federal government has not played its role as it's supposed to be by backing it up with funding. That is a non-governmental organization, doesn't mean that you should just leave it to the members to fund themselves. You can imagine the number of people that have gone through various training programs and the way they have comported themselves nationwide. The Youth Council is 60 years old this year. If it has not been successful, it has not achieved, it wouldn't have been in existence anymore. Because we have done everything to insulate it from politics. It's not political, not sectarian, not
that's the part I wanted to come into as well, because we have seen in recent times, for example, the different state chapters or branches, as they are called, the state governors or the politicians in the state would like to influence the leadership most times. How is the organization trying, or how is the organization trying to move away from political influence? Because we all know politicians, they try to influence everything they can.
You are quite right. You are quite right. There have been very serious efforts on the part of various governments, state governments, to interfere, now even if possible, acquire the council, because they found that the council has a solid structure base of youth mobilization. It's a very veritable source, resource base for youth mobilization. But the policy is so clear, We are not partisan. So when there's a state, I don't want to go into details of that. There's a state where the government interfered and tried to impose a leadership on the council. It was very seriously resisted, and that leadership collapsed. And of course, today they have elected the officers elected by themselves, for themselves, and for the state. Subvention is what the state government normally would give. Very patronage sum of money, but for some years, because they are not political, they don't even render that. What is surprising to most people in government is that in spite of this non-funding from government, the youth remain very solid and very united. So it is, we don't say you should not vote. We don't say you should not support anybody, but as a body of youth council, we are not partisan. We support the government of the day. Doesn't matter which party you belong to, even in the military, the governor of the state, the president of the Federal Republic, the grand patron. So wherever is there, we give you support because we have been trained. Our training is to be loyal to the country, to be loyal to the government of the day. But they want to go beyond that, to try and make use of the council structures, because we have structures from national, state, even zone, local government levels. So if you go to any local government, you will find the youth council there solid. So the God has helped us, and the foundation we laid is what they are still trying to build on, of non-partisanship. I tell you, when I was president, I was the national president. We made it clear: any person who wanted to contest the election must resign. A very senior officer from my state, was my public relations officer. He wanted to contest a local government election. Zero base, no party, zero party. He had to resign to enable him contest. That's to tell you how dearly we hold non-partisan nature of the council. So God has helped us, and currently the policy, the national youth policy, has been reviewed over and over again, and we keep insisting that clause of non-governmental interference, non-interference in the affairs of the youth council, is there in the youth policy. So that one is a handicap to government's intention to acquire the council for whatever purpose.
Okay, sir.
It's not easy.
Yeah, obviously. So lastly, let's talk about our own alumni association.
Yeah.
We are former pioneer, the very first Secretary General, former president. We are a strong stakeholder in the alumni association. The association has not been in a place where we are proud of for the past 4 years because of the issues at the national level. And recently, I saw there was a meeting at the university to bring these whole issues to a stop, for us to move forward. What should we be looking at going forward? These issues have been resolved. What should be our expectations, and especially for the younger alumni like himself? This is an association that we want to belong to. We want to contribute. We want to take over from you people. People have done well. You have laid the foundation. So we want to take over. But right now, there's no environment for us to take over. So what should we be looking forward to in the nearest future?
Let me tell you, Kevin, the association is not a matter of taking over. Every graduate of the University of Benin is a member of the association as an alumnus. So you own it. It's just what the difference may be the level of activity. While some are active at their alumni activities, some are not active. Now, yes, like you said, in the last 4 years, we have had a crisis, which is not unusual when you have a large body like this, interest coming. I think there was an election that didn't go the way it's supposed to have gone. And the aggrieved party went to the court, and the court recently ruled that the election was not properly conducted. So I think every effort is being made again now to conduct the election. I listened to somebody made a statement that the past leaders of the association are the problems. I think if that person was an active member of the association, even at the branch level, he will not make such a statement. I have been president. I will not be president again. Past presidents have been president. They cannot be president again. So the association is for those who are upcoming. It's open. The election is open. Any person can contest. The Constitution provides for you to be a member of a branch. It is, I think I would say it's a very unfair statement, maybe if I can put it that mildly, or quite uninformed. As a past president, I have 1 vote, just like every member. The only difference is that I'm a permanent, so long as I'm alive, I'm a permanent, have my permanent vote. Those who are chairmen have tenure. I don't have tenure anymore. What we are interested in is the continual growth of the association, so that it can play the role it's supposed to play in the university. Nobody is interested in who becomes president or secretary or whatever. The only thing is that follow the due process. If you, like I've just told you how along with others, I've labored to build this association. You have a foundation, you have a constitution, you have a structure. You don't deviate from it. If you follow the due process, like the court judgment says, look, take your constitution, follow the provisions of your constitution, and you will not go astray. So once you deviated from that, there was problem. But luckily, human beings, we have this tendency, when we are hot, we want to take out a pound of flesh. But at the end of the day, reason will prevail, wise counsel will prevail. I think the last meeting with the Emergency General Assembly that we had in the university, it's a milestone towards achieving peace. I'm hoping that the next General Assembly, which has been proposed for November, will bring about a new executive. Both those who were agreed and those who are aspiring, I think everybody is collaborated and made sacrifices to make sure that we move forward. We have lost a lot of ground in the university activities. We have lost at the national and world level because the fellowship that used to enjoy is no more there, has not been there at the national level. So we need to grow. We have not been growing the way we're supposed to. So I'm looking forward to November, that before the current VC leaves office in December, the association will have an executive that can proudly say she left an executive of the association. Before now, we have been playing very significant roles in the activities in the university, championing a lot of things, and these are things we should do. So you people, you younger ones, come. You don't need to come to see Azugbene. You don't need to go and see Komosa or anybody or anybody. We go to your branch. If you are active in your branch level, your branch will put you up either as a delegate or as a candidate. And you come to the national. If you market yourself, and you have a manifesto or you have your program, send yourself to the delegates. If they feel you're competent enough, they vote for you and you become the president. But don't go try and do shortcut. It is shortcut that causes this problem. And I think now that we have learned our lessons from that, I'm sure we will avoid such pitfalls in the future. So we rest assured that by God's grace and with the cooperation of all parties, when I say all parties, those who were aggrieved, those who are intending to be aggrieved, I think we have agreed. We all agree that we need to move forward and get this association going. It will hurt me, and I know a lot of others to see the house you build. You cannot watch the house you build go down and just stay aloof. Fire is burning in your house, you stay aloof. So on our own as pastors, what we have been doing these last 4 years is trying to bring about reconciliation, bring about peace, trying to appeal to people to let go some things and let's move forward. We are not interested in we cannot even impose because we don't even have that power. So there's no father who will want to see his children go down. Rather, you want to see your children progress. You want to see your family expand. You want to see them do well wherever they are, and they should do better than you have done.
Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your thoughts. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Yes, we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you, viewers. That's the end of this episode. I have been speaking with Chief Macaulay Azugbene, retired Deputy Registrar of the University of Benin, and former Secretary General and President of the University of Benin Alumni Association. Continue to subscribe to our channel. I'm going to do more exclusive interviews with Uniben. Bye for now.